I keep hitting buttons here. This is, like I said, a 1-year-old water heater. Ah, nice they didn't bother putting a catch pan down here on the bottom. I wonder what code, well, we're in the garage, maybe that's not a code issue. Still, you'd think they would. It looks like it's been dripping here a little bit. Yeah, I got a little water on my finger. You can see it's dripping down on the base there. So we might check that. Electronic ignition and temperature module here on it. Gas flex line, all looks like they put together pretty good. Looks like they even did a little test, bubble test on it, still wet, so at least they checked it. Anyway, that's not what I'm here for, but we can poke at that. Cast my LED light. We have Distinctions, a Managas furnace, and this is a downflow. The venting is in the floor on this pier and beam house. It's a duplex actually, and the door is sealed here. So we have, I guess it's pulling some return air from under the house, or supply air I should say, and for the furnace, and through a small vent up here. The sheet metal's all pretty new here, and you can see the filter assembly here, and it's a 2-filter affair. So you pull one out and plop the other one in, and like I said, it's downflow, so it is positive pressure, so the airflow is going down, which means you don't need a P-trap on it, and they have obviously not put one in there. Looks like a brand new air conditioning coil too, or fairly new, so I'm wondering if they replace a whole system. I haven't been outside yet. It's pretty well, they didn't seal that off very well, so this probably drips a little bit, I bet, on the piping here. And that looks alright there. And the plug's off down there. But anyway, let's get back to the furnace. It's pretty clean looking. I thought I would come out and check it for him. You can kind of see the grilling. I guess they disperses the flame or heat. I've never really done any reading up on that. And I haven't seen it a lot, but I've seen it on some furnaces. At first I thought it was an electronic ignition, just looking at the rod assembly on top there on the right. And let me get my, I don't have my pocket knife on me, but you can see the screw assembly back there. So that normally that looks like a spark ignition, but it's got 2 wires going in. If you look down here, you can see back in there that it is a very small hot surface igniter. I've never really installed many of these. Usually I do the fatter versions, so this is kind of a little bit different than the fatter hot surface elements. That's almost reminiscent of the annoying little blue wire jobbies on the smart gas valves. But anyway, so we get there, and on the left side we have the flame sensor over here. You can see it pipes in from the top, and I just cleaned that a while ago. Like I said, the furnace is only about 3 years old, but you can pop out the one screw, which is 5/16, or use a small stubby flat blade screwdriver, and you can take it out, and it's a good thing to do if you're doing maintenance or check up for somebody's furnace. You can pop these out, cut off the power. The power on this one is a fuse switch, 15 amp fuse switch here. I think it's pop down. Yeah, it's a glass fuse on this one, and it's got the little switch, so I'd cut the power off on that a while ago and unscrewed that, popped it out, and took some steel wool to clean it. Don't use sandpaper. You can in a pinch, but the problem with sandpaper, so I've been told, I've never actually seen it happen, is that if you leave the sandpaper residue on it, it can glaze to a glass and you don't get good current transfer or voltage transfer from the rod through the flame to the ground. So steel wool, and then lick your fingers and wipe it off and clean it and put it back in. So that's pretty straightforward. This particular one has a resettable rollout flame sensor here. So if for some reason it doesn't ignite properly and it blows back, or you have real high heat issues, then it will trip the resettable here, and you can reset it. Has a temperature sensor in the furnace assembly there that is a high limit switch, and I can't see, it looks like 300 and something degrees maybe. My glasses aren't on very well, but that is auto resettable in itself, so if you reach temperatures it will auto reset. Normal, fairly standard normal gas valve, on off, built on the switch just for power, not an on-off gas assembly. Oh, here we go. So we'll get to walk through it. Normal procedure on an 80% gas furnace is the induced draft motor fires off first when the thermostat calls. And that'll run anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds, and then you hear the click. Now the hot surface igniter is lighting after the relay clicked over. Then it turns the gas on, and it starts and burns its way across. If the flame sensor is clean and there's an ignition, it will prove the flame sensor that the assembly is lit, and at that point it will leave the gas on. For some reason it doesn't, the gas doesn't light, or the flame sensor is dirty and doesn't pass the information to the control board, and it will immediately shut off the gas. And you usually cycle a couple times. Now you can hear the blower motor is kicking in. The control board, this is all a time sequence for the control board. The control board waits 30 seconds or whatever after the flame has been proven, then it kicks in the blower motor. And the reverse happens when the, see, this is a real short cycle. It's not taking very long to trip the thermostat inside. The flame has been cut off, and at first I thought maybe we had an error, but there's no error on the board. It's just reaching temperature really quick, whatever. Maybe I need to clean the thermostat. And induced draft motor is shut off. The blower is staying on for X amount of time. Some of these boards are resettable. You can adjust the blower time delay after it's been kicked off, but I don't see any switches on this particular board. So it's a White Rogers board, but so it's probably preset 30-45 seconds. The blower remains on to cool off the furnace assembly, then it will shut off. If for some reason you have obstruction, say the filter is too dirty, or the air conditioner coil, which in this case is on the bottom instead of the top, is too dirty, then the unit fires up and it's not passing enough airflow to maintain a certain temperature inside. It gets too hot. The sensor back here will open up and it will shut off the furnace and will let the blower run until the temperature drops down, and then it will close again and start over again. And depending on the board, some of these will trip, but after a certain amount of times. Almost all of the modern boards on these type of furnaces will absolutely trip after 3 attempts to light. So if for some reason the say the flame, the hot surface igniter is burned out, and it tries 3 times in a row to light and it can't prove flame, it will usually lock out and turn the blower on to let you know what's going on. So this is, like I said, pretty straightforward. So we'll walk through it one more time. This is 80% furnaces. I'm not really sure on 90%, so I don't work on them much. 95s, but call for heat. The thermostat turns on. The induced draft motor fires up first. Runs, 20-30 seconds. You'll hear a relay click. The hot surface igniter will come on. If you don't have hot surface igniter on a modern one, you'll have spark ignition on modern ones. Once it ignites, the gas valve will open. The jets run across. Now sometimes you can have other issues like carbon buildup between the actual plates. You'll see the little flat plates between the 2 units. Sometimes carbon builds up between those, and it doesn't want to let the gas flame walk across real smoothly. I have one customer, he has an upstairs unit that is kind of outdoors. It's not real sealed up, so every year I have to go clean his flame sensor and remove carbon from buildup between the plates, or it's just because it's misfiring every year. But so that's something to watch for. Even burn, even ignition all the way across. If you're doing yearly maintenance, you can check the flame sensor. Sometimes I'll take the back plastic end of a screwdriver and gently tap these to loosen any carbon buildup and just kind of knock it free. Of course, this is a technician stuff. This is not anything for homeowners to be doing. If you're doing a checkup, say a yearly checkup or whatever, in addition to cleaning the flame sensor, you want to, of course, take a spray bottle of spray bubbles and check all of your fittings on the piping and make sure that you don't have any leaks. You will, from time to time, run across these. It's very common for me to go out every year and find a few dozen small bubble leaks. Nothing major, but sometimes you'll get little small bubble leaks. And you need to tighten things up. Usually, see, this is all hard pipe. 90% of the time, if I have small bubble leaks, it is on gas flex line, and you have to remove the gas flex line or back it off, or sometimes you can just snug it up. They didn't quite put them on snug enough, but that's usually where I have gas bubble leaks, is right there. And you can see this is all wet, so they checked this thoroughly after they did the installation of that water heater, which was done about a year ago, and the furnace here was done several years ago, and it doesn't look like it's been checked since then. Other than that, pretty good. Have some needs a little bit of extra foam here. You can see the water's probably been dripping down there, and the rest of the furnace looks like a pretty good install, though. Golly, they didn't put any tape sealant. They didn't put any tape around this, so we have air leaks there. We have air leaks up there. We have air leaks here. So they really should have put some foil tape around all that. And of course, I don't have any handy, so I can't really do anything about that. Over here, you can see on the water heater, they didn't put a catch pan. Of course, it's in the garage, so maybe that's not code necessary. You see a drip here. I have to tighten that up because of the drip. But, oh, I love that. The water pop-off valve just kind of shoots straight down on the floor. Gotta love it. Anyway, there you go. Just thought I'd walk you through some procedures for startup and some common stuff on the gas furnace. And I hope you enjoyed the impromptu video. And here we go, so we'll watch it one more time. Reduced draft motor kicking on. I'm at 13 minutes, so you're probably getting bored. But now I have to come over, wait for the relay click. There we go. Hot service ignition. Gas ignition. Cross real smoothly. Flame rod is improving. By now the gas would probably have cut off if it wasn't. You see a little bit of dispersal on the flame there. Add some more evenly pushing the flame around. I have to do some research on that. And next relay click and the blower is kicking on. Beautiful. Well, gang, thanks for watching, and I'll look forward to hopefully making another video in the near future. We're up here in Missouri visiting for Thanksgiving, so Merry Christmas. Thanksgiving. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and drive safe and enjoy your time with your family.